Bonjour à tous. Good day, everyone. So just to start, I'd like to do an audio check. If your audio doesn't work, can you just raise your hand and we'll know that we have to wait a bit. Okay, perfect. So everybody's audio is working. So good day, everyone. I am Sergeant Sophie Bachmeyer with the RCMP, and I will be providing the moderation and French translation today's availability. As you know, an arrest has been made and charges have been laid in relation to Weyburn area death of Tanya Myers. This morning, Inspector Ashley St. Germain, Senior Investigative Officer with the Saskatchewan RCMP Major Crime Branch, will be providing a reiteration of the information released to date and will then answer your question. We ask that you please put your microphone on mute until the Q&A portion is available. At that time, I'll go through the list of names one by one for those in attendance and will be giving you an opportunity to answer questions. We ask that you please stick to 2 or 3 questions. Please be mindful that this is an ongoing investigation. As such, limited in the what we're able to release. I also would like to note that this availability will be recorded. With that, we'll get started. Again, please remain on mute until we're ready for questions. Bonjour à toutes, je suis la sergente Sophie Bachmeyer de la GRC et je serai votre modératrice et responsable de l'interprétation en français dans la conférence d'aujourd'hui. Comme vous le savez, la GRC a arrêté une personne et porté des accusations en lien du décès de Tanya Myers, survenu dans la région de Weyburn. Ce matin, l'inspectrice Ashley St. Germain, officière supérieure des enquêtes de groupes de crimes majeurs de la GRC de la Saskatchewan, fera un résumé des renseignements fournis jusqu'à maintenant et répondra à vos questions. Nous vous demandons de régler vos microphones en mode sourdin jusqu'à la séance des questions. Ensuite, je ferai l'appel des noms de tous ceux présents. Ce sera alors votre chance de poser des questions. Nous vous demandons de vous tenir à 2 ou 3 questions par personne.
It's our problem, not theirs.
L'enquête est toujours en cours. C'est pourquoi certains renseignements ne peuvent pas être transmis. Je tiens à souligner que cette conférence de presse est enregistrée. Nous sommes prêts à commencer. Veuillez rester en mode sourdin jusqu'à la séance de questions.
Good morning, everyone. On September 12, 2025, a firearm was charged, striking 2 vehicles traveling on Highway 39 near Weyburn. This resulted in the death of 44-year-old Tanya Myers. Tanya's death left her family, friends, and the community mourning. It also left them with so many questions. Saskatchewan RCMP Major Crimes has been diligently investigating the circumstances of Tanya. They have now determined some of those answers. We were able to share them with Tanya's loved ones this weekend and can now share them with the public. Our investigators determined an adult male discharged the firearm that struck the vehicles. On Saturday, Major Crimes arrested the adult male in Regina. 42-year-old Chris Fahlman from Regina is charged with 1 count of manslaughter with firearm, 1 count of careless use of a firearm, 1 count of carrying a weapon for the purpose of committing an offense, and 1 count of occupying a motor vehicle knowing that there is a firearm inside. We are not seeking any other suspects in relation to this investigation. Chris Fahlman is scheduled to appear in Regina Provincial Court today. We are not aware of any direct connection between the accused and the occupants in the 2 vehicles that were struck. Tanya's family has been updated by investigators. Our thoughts are with them as they continue to grieve and process this new information. They ask that you respect their ongoing request for privacy. They did want to express their appreciation of the investigation to date. They also wanted to share that they are relieved that the person responsible has been charged, as they can now begin their healing process. I want to thank the many Saskatchewan RCMP detachments and units that assisted Major Crimes in this investigation. I also thank the Weyburn Police Service, who were the first responders to the scene, along with emergency medical services. We also acknowledge the Saskatchewan RCMP, Weyburn Police Service, Saskatchewan Provincial Protective Services, and Saskatchewan Marshal Service officers who conducted increased patrols in the area in the days after the incident. Last, I want to recognize our major crimes investigators. Not all deaths and police investigations attract the public and media interest this one did. But Major Crimes works tirelessly to investigate all suspicious deaths in our jurisdiction, even when we can't share the information publicly yet. This weekend, as one Major Crimes team worked on the Weyburn investigation, another team responded to the separate homicide of a young woman in Grandmother's Bay near Larange. A male was also injured in this incident. As a result of investigation by Major Crimes, one individual has been arrested and charged in relation to the death of 18-year-old Melissa Charles. While this investigation is unrelated to the Weyburn one, I want to take a minute to also express our sincere condolences to Melissa's loved ones as they too navigate a tragic and untimely death. Major Crimes investigates all suspicious deaths thoroughly with the ultimate goal of charging the person or persons responsible and helping those affected get answers. I'm proud of our team's skills and the dedication today and every day.
Le 12 septembre, une arme à feu a été déchargée, atteignant deux véhicules qui circulaient sur la route 39 près de Weyburn. Tanya Myers, 44 ans, est décédée à la suite de cet incident. Tanya laisse sa famille, ses amis et la collectivité dans le deuil et avec beaucoup de questions. Les crimes majeurs de la GRC de la Saskatchewan ont enquêté avec diligence sur les circonstances du décès de Tanya. Ils ont maintenant obtenu certaines réponses que nous avons fournies aux proches de Tanya cette fin de semaine. Nous les communiquons maintenant avec le public. Nos enquêteurs ont établi que l'arme à feu a été déchargée par un homme adulte et que les projectiles ont atteint les véhicules. Samedi, les crimes majeurs ont arrêté un homme adulte à Regina. Chris Fahlman, 42 ans de Regina, fait l'objet des accusations suivantes. Un chef d'homicide involontaire coupable avec une arme à feu, un chef d'usage négligent d'une arme à feu, un chef de port d'une arme en vue de commettre une infraction, un chef de possession non autorisée d'une arme à feu dans un véhicule automobile, infraction délibérée. Nous ne sommes pas à la recherche d'autres suspects en lien de cette enquête. Chris Fahlman comparaîtra devant les cours provinciales de Regina aujourd'hui. Rien ne nous indique l'existence d'un lien direct entre l'accusé et les personnes qui se trouvaient à bord des deux véhicules atteints. Les membres de la famille de Tanya ont été rencontrés par les enquêteurs. Nos pensées se tournent vers eux en ces moments difficiles, alors qu'ils doivent assimiler ces nouveaux renseignements. Nous vous demandons de respecter leur vie privée. Toutefois, ils souhaitent d'exprimer leur satisfaction relativement à l'enquête jusqu'ici. Ils souhaitent aussi dire qu'ils sont soulagés que la personne responsable a été accusée. Ils peuvent maintenant commencer leur processus de guérison. J'aimerais remercier les nombreux détachements et groupes de la GRC de la Saskatchewan qui ont assisté aux crimes majeurs dans cette enquête. J'aimerais aussi remercier les agents du service de police de Weyburn qui ont été les premiers intervenants à arriver sur les lieux, de même à les services médicaux d'urgence. Nous reconnaissons également les agents de la GRC de la Saskatchewan, du service de police de Weyburn, des services de protection provinciaux de la Saskatchewan et du Marshal Service de la Saskatchewan qui ont intensifié les patrouilles dans le secteur dans les jours suivant l'incident. Enfin, j'aimerais reconnaître nos enquêteurs de crimes majeurs. Ce ne sont pas tous les décès et toutes les enquêtes policières qui attirent autant l'intérêt du public et des médias. Les crimes majeurs travaillent sans relâche pour enquêter sur tous les morts suspects sur notre territoire de compétence, même lorsque nous ne pouvons pas encore rendre l'information publique. Cette fin de semaine, pendant qu'une de nos enquêtes des crimes majeurs travaillait sur l'enquête à Weyburn, une autre enquête est intervenue sur les lieux d'un homicide sur une jeune femme à Grandmother's Bay, près de Larange. Un homme a également été blessé dans cet incident. À la suite d'une enquête de crime majeur, une personne a été arrêtée et accusée en lien de la mort de Melissa Charles, 18 ans. Bien que cette enquête ne soit pas liée à celle de Weyburn, j'aimerais prendre une minute pour exprimer mes condoléances sincères aux proches de Melissa qui vivent un décès tragique et prématuré eux aussi. Les crimes majeurs mènent des enquêtes approfondies sur tous les morts suspects afin de pouvoir porter des accusations contre la ou les personnes responsables de celles-ci et d'aider à fournir des réponses aux personnes touchées. Aujourd'hui et à chaque jour, je suis fière des compétences et du dévouement de notre équipe. We're now going to proceed with the questions. Nous allons maintenant procéder aux questions. I would like to remind everybody to stay muted unless you have a question and we come to your name. Alors, j'aimerais aviser que tout le monde devrait rester en mode sourdin jusqu'à temps que soit on dit ton nom et où vous avez des questions. Merci. Et s'il vous plaît, vous identifiez lorsque vous posez des questions. Please identify yourself when asking for questions.
Colleen. Colleen, try that again. Can't hear her. There is a question in the chat, but not from her. Sorry, just 1 second, please.
Juste un moment.
He's on mute still. Yeah, he's on mute. Okay, can you guys give us a thumbs up if you can hear us?
We can hear you fine. I would suggest
Anybody out there?
that we can move on.
Okay,
Can you guys hear me?
Perfect, thank you.
We can hear.
Ryan, you're on. Oh, I don't know.
This
who just spoke.
is Chris Vandenbriegel with Global News. I'm suggesting if perhaps we can move on and come back to that first question.
Yes, I didn't hear it. So I guess, Chris, since I can hear you, if you have a question. We'll
Sure, yeah. I wanted to ask about the context of these charges in the Weyburn highway shooting. The charge of manslaughter combined with some of the other charges, is this a case where this individual was hunting and there was an accidental shooting? Like, what sort of evidence do you guys have that brought you to this conclusion?
Right. So at this point in time, I can't speak specifically to the evidence that we have that has led to the charge of manslaughter with a firearm, along with the 3 other charges. What I can say is that the investigation done to date led us to Chris Fahlman, and also in consultation with our Crown Counsel, the charge of manslaughter with a firearm was supported. In order to protect that investigational integrity along with the court process, I can't speak specifically to what he was doing that day.
Thank you.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, this is Kara Kinna with the World Spectator. Can you tell us if he was arrested previously in relation to this investigation? There's been a few reports that some people thought they saw him arrested on October 15th at the Shell station. I just wondered if that's something you could confirm at all.
That, unfortunately, that is not something that I can confirm. I can't speak to previous arrests that involve Chris Fahlman, if any exist. If there is information relating to this particular investigation, an arrest made. The first arrest made in this case was made on Saturday.
Thank you.
Colleen, can you try again, and then we can go to number 2.
Were the accused and the victim known to each other?
At this point in time, we don't have any information that immediately connects the accused and the other occupants of the vehicles.
Hello,
Ryan?
Ryan Kidrowski here, Grasslands News Group. I was just curious if you have any other suspects at this point and if the investigation would still be ongoing.
Yeah, so at this point in time, we don't have any evidence to support that there's another suspect involved. That said, our investigation does not stop now that we've made an arrest in this case. There's still other outstanding tasks to take care of to ensure that the matter is fully investigated and prepared to go to court. Further charges could come, but at this point in time, we've arrested the one, Chris Fahlman, and have laid those charges.
Thank you.
Kara Kinner from the World Spectator here.
Fortunately, that information will have to wait until this matter is before the courts. The specifics of the investigation that was done will be a matter that has to be determined in court. Our investigators did work diligently to ensure that they were taking care of all of the investigative tasks that would lead us to the person responsible for this offense. And more about that will come out when the matter is before the courts.
Are you able to confirm that it's Chris Fahlman with Fahlman Home Inspections? Just so we know it's the right Chris Fahlman, I guess.
Generally speaking, we can't confirm an individual's employment.
Okay, thank you.
Jana Pruden?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Jana Pruden with the Globe and Mail. One of the charges is carrying a weapon with the purpose of committing an offense. Can you specify what the offense is or give us any more details about that specific charge?
So the one count of carrying a weapon for the purpose of committing an offense, that would be specifically relating back to the manslaughter with a firearm offense.
Okay, thank you.
Sabrina?
Est-ce que vous m'entendez?
Oui, on peut t'entendre.
Ok, parfait. Bonjour. Ma question, c'est maintenant qu'il va y avoir que Chris va comparaître aujourd'hui, est-ce que vous avez une idée de ce qui s'ensuit en fait après ça?
So now that Chris is going to go to court, do you know what's going to be next?
Right. So at this point, I'll answer that in English, and then Sergeant Bachmeyer will answer in French. At this point, the next steps are that Fahlman will need to appear in court, and that process will take place. So there's a lot of different options that could happen once the matter is before the court. So it's hard for me to speculate on that. But he'll have an appearance today, and I would expect an appearance later this week.
So à ce moment, les procédures sont en cours. Ils peuvent avoir plusieurs avenues procédant avec le cours, mais on ne sait pas qu'est-ce qui va se passer.
Est-ce que vous allez potentiellement mettre en place des installations de sécurité sur l'autoroute 39? Est-ce qu'il va y avoir des ateliers préventifs à Weyburn? Est-ce qu'il va y avoir comme un peu plus de sensibilisation par rapport à l'empreinte de cette autoroute et aux dangers qui peuvent y avoir, comme ce qui s'est passé avec Tanya?
The question is, will we put anything in place for the Highway 39 or sense awareness project for what has happened with Tanya.
Like a memorial or something?
Just awareness, preventative measures. Est-ce que j'ai bien dit ça?
Oui, exactement, pour de la prévention.
Prevention measures with Highway 39 and what has happened in Weyburn and surroundings.
Right. At this point, I actually don't have an answer to that question. We typically, I mean, unless there was an increased safety risk, we wouldn't put any additional awareness out into that community. The investigation was completed, and now that Chris is charged, there shouldn't be any additional concern. However, I can't speak to that with absolute certainty, just given the nature of not knowing what the future might bring.
Pour vos questions, on n'a pas vraiment de réponse, mais pour l'investigation avec Chris, on a arrêté quelqu'un. L'investigation, l'enquête est en processus en ce moment. À moins que quelque chose change, on va procéder de façon qu'on a besoin. Est-ce que ça répond à votre question?
Oui, et puis dernière question vraiment, est-ce que Chris avait comme un casier judiciaire? Est-ce qu'il avait comme déjà un passé par rapport à l'utilisation des armes? Est-ce qu'il avait déjà eu, il s'est déjà fait arrêter avant?
Okay, so the question is, does Chris have a previous criminal record or has he been arrested previously?
Generally speaking, we are not able to comment on an individual's past criminal history unless there are new charges relating to that. And in this case, there are not.
So, en ce moment, parce que l'enquête est dans les cours, nous ne pouvons pas parler sur s'il y a des antécédents judiciaires ou quoi que ce soit, parce que l'enquête est en cours en ce moment.
Merci beaucoup.
De rien, ça me fait plaisir.
We have Christopher.
Yeah, Chris Vandenbrekel with Global News again. Just to follow up on the previous question with the carrying a weapon for the purpose of committing an offense. Correct me if I'm wrong, but typically with manslaughter, there's not an intention to kill. So was there an intention to harm somebody in a vehicle that related in that other offense of carrying the weapon for the purpose of committing an offense, or was that offense meant to be unrelated to hurting someone?
So generally speaking, I would recommend to reach out to a legal expert for detailed information about the criminal code and the charges that are laid in this specific case, because there's many facets to what we're dealing with here. The simplified explanation is, as you said, intent. Murder has an intent behind it, whereas manslaughter does not necessarily carry that intent. So the other charges that were laid in addition were done so in consultation with our Crown Counsel.
But you can't provide any context as to that charge, because I think the confusion here is that, that area of Highway 39 off into the wild can be a hunting area. So was this a like in connection a poaching offense?
At this point in time, I don't have any information relating to him hunting in the area or poaching specifically. The one offense there of occupying a motor vehicle, knowing there's a firearm inside, I mean, generally speaking, that's not an illegal activity to do if one is carrying a legal firearm and storing it legally and complying with the transportation regulations. Unfortunately, I can't specifically answer the question about carrying the weapon for a purpose of committing an offense other than it being related directly to the manslaughter offense.
Thank you.
Natasha?
Hi, Natasha Wee with Discover Weyburn News. I know that in our community there have been a lot of questions raised about public safety. Now that we have more details about what went on, was there ever an increased risk for public safety here in Weyburn, and can we expect to see a reduction in police presence?
So I can't specifically speak to the police presence in the Weyburn area at the moment. I'm not aware of there being any increased resources there at this point in time, but I could be mistaken on that. What I can say is from the beginning of the investigation, public safety was at the forefront of all of our actions. We did not, if you recall, issue a public safety alert in this case, and that was simply due to the fact that based on the information that we had at that time, it didn't meet the criteria. Since then, we've kept that public safety focus at the forefront of our investigation, and had there been an increased risk to that area, we would have identified it at that point in time.
Thank you. Secondly, are there any requests that the RCMP is making in regard to the public and the spread of speculation, videos, pictures, anything in that respect?
So I'm just going to get you to clarify what you mean by that.
People are, of course, here in the community when it comes to speculation, different videos and photos that are circulating about the incident. Are there any requests you're making when it comes to the information that's shared, how people are sharing things, and kind of the tone or action people are taking now that the news has broken?
Sure. So what I would say, I think, with respect to this is that any actual, video surveillance, social media chat that are pertaining to the investigation, I would ask that they be forwarded to the RCMP. If they need to be included in our investigation, then we will consider them at that point in time. In terms of speculation as to what's gone on, there is a process in place for that, and that is for the matter to go to court. And I think, part of policing is not only finding the answers to what happened, but it's also making sure that we hold that integrity to the investigation and it be able to proceed fairly in court. So I would discourage speculating or, perpetuating rumors about what may or may not have happened, and really let that court process play out.
Thank you.
Aaron?
Hi there. Can you folks hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. Aaron Sousa with the Canadian Press. Just a couple of questions. I mean, can you guys help us nail down what kind of weapon this would have involved? I mean, previous information that RCMP released has said that 2 bullets were recovered. So I'm wondering what kind of bullets were they, and what sort of gun would have taken those bullets to begin with? Was it a rifle? Was it a pistol?
So at this point in time, I'm not able to answer that question, just to protect the investigative integrity of the matter right now. Our investigation, as I said, is still ongoing, and there is no increased public safety risk at this point in time, but that is information that will come out during the court process.
And I guess just my follow-up really quickly is, a man with the same name as the accused shared the RCMP's Facebook post at the time, I think it was September 12th or 13th, and called it absolutely disgusting. I'm wondering if this post specifically led investigators to where we're at today.
So again, unfortunately, at this point in time, I can't provide specifics about the actual investigation and the path that it took in order to be mindful of that upcoming court process. That's basically all I can say for that. Kara?
Can you tell us, did the public assist in your investigation?
Absolutely. Right at the onset of the investigation, we put information out through our news partners to ask for people to come forward where, vehicles were identified, and asking for information from the public. And those questions were answered. The public was extremely cooperative in providing us with information to forward the investigation. And our news partners were very helpful in making sure that we were able to get that information out there so we could forward this investigation. And our teams are extremely appreciative of that.
Thank you.
Chris Edwards.
Hi, Chris Edwards from CBC Saskatchewan. My question is similar to Aaron's question. We're asking do you have any idea over the course of your investigation about where the shots came from, whether it was from a field, from another vehicle? Is there any information there that you'd be willing to share?
So what I can share on that is that absolutely was a focus of our investigation, was determining where the firearm was shot from and where that bullet originated from. I can't share those specific details at this point in time, but that was absolutely a part of the investigative process.
Okay, thank you.
Jana?
Hi, can you speak at all about whether Mr. Fahlman was previously known to police?
So at this point in time, I can't comment on his previous involvement with police if there was any. The only exception that we have is if they're on court-ordered conditions and they've been breached, and in this case, that is not the case.
Okay, just a quick follow-up, since I haven't seen the court documents yet. Do all of the charges that you're announcing today relate to this single incident, or are there any allegations of things that happened on different days?
At this point, my understanding is that the 4 offenses that have been laid are in relation to the September 12th incident.
Okay, thank you.
Christopher.
Yeah, Chris Vandenbrekel, Global News again. What was the manner of the arrest? Did he report to a police station, or how was he taken into custody?
So he was taken into custody on Saturday. He did not report to a police station. Our major crimes investigators arrested him Saturday morning in Regina.
Was it a traffic stop?
I can confirm that he was arrested in Regina. I'm not sure if you're referring to something specific.
There's video floating around alleging to be of the arrest.
So yes, I can confirm that the video posted to Just Bin Stories was the arrest of the accused.
Thank you.
I'm just going to go to the chat here quickly. Kiera, has your question been answered? Okay, so I'll just read it out here and provide an answer to that question. So to me, the charge of manslaughter indicates that the shooting was random and not intended, but the charge of carrying a concealed weapon for the purpose of committing an offense counteracts that. Can you explain that further? How were you able to pin the crime on Fahlman, and what led you to him? So I think with respect to the first question, I've answered that question. And the last 2 questions, our investigation led us to Fahlman being responsible for this offense. I can't go into the specifics of how we got there at this point in time. And then I'll go to Kara's question, and then I think one last one from Chris with his hand up, and we'll finish at that point. So Kara, can you tell me if Chris Fahlman was arrested previously in relation to this investigation? Yeah, and I think we've answered that. So no, I'm not. This is the first arrest in relation to the Weyburn shooting incident that occurred on September 12th. And then Chris, I will turn it to you for the last question.
Thanks. Just a final question from us. We're curious if the suspect you arrested, does he have a business in Capel?
At this point, I can't speak about the information pertaining to his personal employment or situation. There's no reason for us to publicly comment on it at this point in time.
Okay, thank you.
So that concludes our availability. Thank you very much for attending.
Une dernière
Merci.
question pour être sûr, en fait, vous avez dit qu'il a été arrêté ce samedi 1er novembre, c'est bien ça?
Just to confirm, has he been arrested on November 1st, Saturday?
Yes, yeah, Saturday, November 1st in Regina.
Oui, samedi novembre 1er, Chris a été arrêté.
Est-ce qu'on sait à quelle heure?
No, what time?
I don't have the exact time in front of me, unfortunately. It was in the morning.
On sait que c'est le matin, mais nous n'avons pas l'heure exacte.
Alors, ceci termine.
On va terminer maintenant. On avait dit que c'était la dernière question. Alors, ceci met fin à nos conférences de presse. Merci de votre présence. Thank you very much for your presence. This is the end of this event. Thank you.